fight the power like Big Chuck.
What's the status, 3?
I'm good, just making the world a better place, that's all.
There's some sins that you commit that you can't come back from, you know, no matter how hard you try. You just can't, you know, it's like the devil is waiting for your body to quit because he knows and that he already owns your soul. And then I think maybe, you know, there's no devil. You die, and God, he says, nah, you can't come in. You have to leave now. You have to leave and go away, and you have to be alone. If I ever no leave, right?
Check it, listen. You're a real step up, and I'm a landmine. Leave your legs dangling, call it hang time. Shout out to all the soldiers who bang signs. Back in the day, I used to slang dimes. This is for the streets, hustling, pushing grams, and flipping bundles. Fuck the government borders, I'm digging tunnels. Delivering the package, cause I'm the real muscle. Wear a ski mask, sports emblems above my brim. Nothing but camo, I'll stomp you out in my Timbs. Take it a step further and start chopping limbs. One day I make it out of hell, something's gotta give. People ask how come the chaos doesn't break me. Because I'm solid, deeply rooted like sequoia trees. The top G, Chuck the God with the iron rod, making devils flee. Staying righteous is something that I can't guarantee. I appear out of nowhere and disappear in the spliff smoke. No one is safe, not even the Catholic Pope. You would own nothing to be happy, that must be a joke. Cause no one is laughing, the war will be invoked. You will be gasping for air like an asthmatic choke. Begging for life, live slump, looking like an addict on dope. It's fucking rappers, it's fucking bombs. Peace of the gods. And I'm out, salute.
Domain expansion.
Rogue One Production.
Welcome to the abyss. The unstoppable one. I am the illest, no doubt. Sporadic, eternal fire. There is no putting me out. I'm sending fiery rain, destroying cities and towns. The government never changed, so I'm taking them out. The FBI is a bitch. The CIA is a bitch. The NSA is a bitch. I know they watching this shit. We fuck around and get hit. My rebels fully equipped to take the enemy down and ride out in their whip. And counting all of the chips. We about to go on the flight. World leaders get hit. Assassination delight. We fly out through the night like Batman in this bitch. Outlandish with kicks, punches, and damage and shit. I call my gun Michael Knight. That bitch come with a kit. AI robotic weapons. That bitch be talking this shit. Explosive hollows exist and turn your body to mist. The god of fire is here. Now welcome to the abyss. 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 The immovable one. Welcome to my domain. The chopper fade into pieces. Throw away the remains. Rapid fire your chains. Hear you screaming in pain. My pride water your flame. Disintegrate all you lanes. Your fears will never change. So I'm hunting you down. I know you got me surrounded. I'm still taking you out. I'm hacking shit with my phone. Turn out all of the lights. Popping cops as I go. I gotta do through the night. In the heat of the night. I keep the heat with the sight. You in your sleep as I snipe. While you sleep with your wife. I'm hopping from roof to roof. Ninja warrior shit. My RPG is equipped. Yo,
Alright. We're going to talk about my great uncle, Viktor Schauberger. Yup, it's my uncle. My German heritage. Viktor Schauberger. He's the Austrian German, just like Schittler. He was born the 30th of June, 1885, and he disappeared the 25th of September, 1958. He's an Austrian forest caretaker, a naturalist, a philosopher, an inventor, and a pseudo-scientist. That's very key right there. Pseudo-scientist. Schauberger was born, I can't say that word, in Holzschlag, Upper Austria. His parents were Leopold Schauberger and Josepha nee Clemich? I don't fucking know. Why they gotta name themselves so difficult? From 1891 to 1897, he attended the elementary school in I don't know. I think that says Eigen? We'll call it Eigen. He attended elementary school in Eigen until 1900, the state grammar school in Linz. Until 1904, he went to the forestry school in Agsbach in the Kartos Agsbach. Yeah, okay. Where he passed the exam as a forester, whatever the fuck a forester is. Let's see. What's a forester? No. A forester is a person in charge of a forest or skilled in planting, managing, or caring for trees, which is going to come in key to the book, some of this book I'm going to read. And this guy also allegedly invented a lot of so-called free energy stuff that we're going to get into. So that's him. Schauberger. This cat's named after a burger. Anyway, my name isn't so better anyway. So, the book I want to get into came out in 1890s, and it's called The Fertile Earth. I'll read the introduction. I got a fucking headache. People give me such a headache. Alright. What is the essence of a tree? How does a blade of grass grow? What do we really understand of the internal events and forces responsible for their upward thrust towards the heavens? And on what conditions do these energies depend? Where do they come from? And how do they interact? What inhibits their proper interaction? And what enhances it? As the pages in this book unfold, the reader will not only come to appreciate the immense contribution to humanity of Viktor Schauberger's life work, but also that humanity must now seize upon his enlightened, penetrating perception of the energetic phenomena underlying physical manifestation and apply them to safeguard its future. Through his deep understanding of the energies responsible for all organic growth and development, his writings in this volume focus on those domains of nature which are at this time in the greatest need of massive rehabilitative intervention. These are the world's rapidly dwindling forests and the vast expanses of arable land, today increasingly threatened by drought, desertification, fire, and flood. This wholesale eradication of the Earth's lungs simply cannot continue. Present systems of land and forest management are largely responsible for the present climatic instability. Mechanistic methods of regeneration and production, which have no truly long-term view and are wholly profit-oriented, given no consideration either to the forest's true function or to a living soil's continuing ability to sustain future generations. I agree with that. And this is in the 1890s. He was dropping this fucking knowledge and wisdom. And today it's still the same. These people cut trees down for the most part and barely plant any. As has already become evident, that current practice of overclearing of forest for agriculture and subsequent tillage leads to soil erosion, desertification, mineral impoverishment, and developing salination. What's salination? Let me see. Why is there no a definition? Mother. Salination. You know, sometimes you gotta do things the hard way. Salination is the process by which water or soil becomes increasingly salty. Okay. The inadequacies in the management or even the actual mismanagement of the world's stocks of these important resources have now reached a point where the problem of providing an equitable and adequate supply of food to an expanding global population appear almost insuperable. Despite the fertilizer and pesticide industry extravagant claims, it is becoming more and more apparent that these methods are no longer effective and are providing both timber and food of increasingly inferior quality. It is therefore time to consider fresh approaches. What is necessary is to employ many more people in developing and applying methods for improving food quality with higher quality food. With high quality food, people would not only be healthier physically and in mind and spirit, but they would also require less food to maintain life. Far from seeing the present population explosion as a problem. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. There's enough land and we could grow enough food for everyone if we could get scumbags out of so-called power. Anyway, Viktor Schauberger advocated posing the question, is it therefore so illogical to recognize the will of nature in the rapid increase in the number of humans? Surely, several 100 million more people are needed, who with their energy and strength can help restore this ravished lump of excrement, the earth. I think it's excrement, whatever that means. To help restore this ravished lump of excrement, the earth to its former glory. It is here that Viktor Schauberger has a great deal to offer in the way of remedies and provides us with pioneering insights into what makes the world's forests and soils tick. Oh my god, hold on everyone. My apologies. I wasn't even sharing this fucking page. Dude, what's going on here? God, you're falling off, dude. Oh well. Where did I leave off? There's not many people here anyway. I'm gonna stop reading and just start talking shit about everyone. I bet you like 900,000 people will show up. Oh my god, Chuck's talking shit. Hurry up. While the restoration of these realms cannot be divorced from the management of water resource conducted in accordance with nature's laws, these same laws also apply to the ways in which forestry and agriculture should be administered. That is to say, the emphasis should be on long-term continuity and sustainability using natural methods of regeneration and fertilization, which requires deep knowledge of the interconnected energies that govern these subtle processes. This can only come with both an open mind and a willingness to comprehend the higher dimensional powers that order physical existence. In other words, we must learn to think one octave higher, as Viktor Schauberger often urges. Nature's formative and reproductive processes are extremely subtle and are based on a delicate, easily upset balance in the intermixture of energies and materials on which they are founded. In our failure either to understand or perceive them, however, we have literally trodden them into the ground. Yet this is the same ground which is supposed to sustain and nourish us, and from which life itself evolves. The time has come for a long overdue and urgent reappraisal of what we are doing. Indeed, it has now become the imperative of the hour, more particularly in terms of the fundamentals of forestry and agriculture. Instead of the former vibrant luxuriance of natural forests, where one species fosters the growth and development of another, in today's plantation forests, monocultures of single species of the same age are forced to compete with one another for their necessities of life. In other words, competition, with all its negative consequences, has been introduced into a long-standing, integrated harmony where it never existed before. instead of smaller. Wow. Hold on. I have to pronounce this word. Acreage. Okay. Instead of smaller acreages, I forgot what that means. Acreages. It means an area of land typically when used for agriculture purposes, but not necessarily measured in acres. Cool, dude. Fucking cool, man. Okay. Now, where was I? Acreages. Instead of smaller acreages. Oh, I get it now. It's like acres, but acreages are adding the ES. Anyway, instead of smaller acreages and holdings where produce was fertilized largely organically and crops were religiously rotated in modern agri-businesses. Agri or agri? I think it's agri for short for agriculture. In modern, stupid word. Why couldn't they just say agriculture? In modern agri-businesses, carbon dioxide trapping hedge growers were swept away and crops are grown without rotation on an increasingly barren heath. These have to be propped up with artificial fertilizer, which ultimately destroys the soil and its microorganisms. All the important preconditions and parameters which ensure thriving growth have been altered ar- ar- arbitrarily. Arbitrarily with scant regard for nature's essentials. The fundamental flaw in our appreciation of the world and of nature and the roots of our present predicament lie in our unquestioning belief in the correctness of our competitive ideology. This we apply only to the treatment of our fellow human beings, but also to long-suffering Mother Nature who nurtures us. So thoroughly are we suffused with this inherently divisive philosophy almost from the day we are born that we have great difficulty in divorcing ourselves from it and in considering any alternative approach. As its philosophy offshoot, present economic policy worldwide is driven by the perceived desirability of quantitative growth without limit, deemed to be the only solution to international economic stability. Such unlimited growth, however, is impossible on this finite planet, finite planet, or shall I say infinite planet, where there is an equally infinite amount of raw material from which all else is derived. The only possible future for unlimited growth is therefore a growth in quality. Alright. Growth in quality. Let's see. There ain't much more to read. I only read the introduction because I don't want to bore people, but I will be reading this whole book because it's only 200 pages. This quantitative drive has resulted in the competitive manufacture and marketing of more and more sophisticated trivia, which have no real and lasting value in terms of natural upward evolutionary progress. Western society, which largely controls global events, has become fascinated with itself and its new toys, and concerns itself mainly with the next innovation. Coupled with this ac- acqui- acquisitive acquisitive urge, of which it is also the cause, there is a huge distortion in perceptions of what is of real worth. When millions are spent on the purchase of football clubs, entertainment facilities, and other fantasia, this money should more properly have been spent on redressing the vastly more pressing problems of widespread famine, disease, and the environment. However, in this world of economic rationalism, which treats humans merely as the means to an economic end, there is no immediate profit in such action. Material acquisition and the pursuit of pleasure seem to be uppermost in the minds of the majority in so-called civilized countries, who enclosed within their cities are almost totally estranged from nature. Into this invidious scheme of all things, the so-called third world countries are also being inexorably drawn in their quest for the same how do I say this? If God damn it. You kidding me? I hit the fucking mouse and it lost my spot. Fucker. Bro. You gotta be kidding me. Sorry everyone, I lost my spot. What the fuck? Okay, I read that. Oh, here it is. Ephemera. Why won't it let me pronounce it though? Do 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 do. Ephemera. All right. Ephemera. What a word. Drawn in their quest. Hold on. It says third world countries are also being inexorably drawn in their request for the same ephemera. Worse than this, in the process, they have lost their traditional values and practices, their natural interaction with their habitat, which hitherto? Oh no. Another word. Hitherto. Which means until now or until the point in time under discussion. Hitherto. That's what the fuck. They have lost their traditional values and practices, their natural interaction with their habitat, which hitherto had sustained them over eons. Culture, in the truest meaning of the word, has become the almost universal victim of this malevolent philosophy. The single-minded preoccupation with mundanities and obliviousness to the gathering storm that looms will propel will propel humanity into a disaster of hitherto unparalleled proportions. The mistaken belief that people can blithely, that can't be right. I wonder who wrote, oh yeah, this guy wrote this, a German guy. Blithely, in a way that shows a casual and cheerful indifference. The mistaken belief that people can blithely continue to disassociate themselves from the demands of the natural world and continue to bask in the glories of technology is a dangerous fallacy. Since all life is inextricably interconnected, the massive disruption that has been rebound in poetic measure on the perpetrate perpetrators perpet perpetrators, I think that's how you say it, perpetrators, it's almost like traitors. I knew it. No. Wow. Inevitably rebound in poetic measure on the perpetrator, balancing precariously on its artificial, contrived foundation. Urbanized humanity has largely lost touch with its root, and as Viktor Schauberger states elsewhere in the book, masses without roots perish. That's true. This is now beginning to happen, and at a rapidly accelerating pace. I'm just going to pause this for a minute, and that's true, man. People without roots perish and that's what I think America has done to people from all over, is cut their roots, tried to cut their roots, but it's why it's important that families tell history to go fuck themselves in school and always pass down your true history. All right, let me continue. Competition, however, is totally at odds with nature's ways. The dreadful irony of the whole scenario is that today attempts are being made to create a harmoniously integrated and cooperative world with the very philosophy that must inevitably destroy it. If ultimate survival is indeed what presently looms ahead, then the chances of real success in achieving it lie in the reversal of the present code, namely a return to cooperative activity, where the efforts of every individual are required for the ultimate well-being of the whole. In this context, Viktor Schauberger conceived humanity's foreordained task to be threefold. 1. To make a small piece of the earth fertile. 2. To evolve oneself to a higher level. And 3. To preserve oneself and the species. Acting on this, we should focus our closest attention on nature's modus operandi to secure a wholesome, healthy, long-term future for the Earth's inhabitants. Which brings me once more to the question at the beginning. How does a blade of grass grow? All organic and therefore animate, and I think that's animate. I was right. Animate. That means bring to life. All organic and therefore animate growth in nature arises from the process of fusion, in which a given structure is built up incrementally through the mutual attraction of molecules. This attraction could be likened to an elementary form of love, a desire to unite in a fruitful way, when each individual component is necessary for the formation of the whole. Without this, there could be no creative buildup of substance, no development of physical form. This, this combinant and recombinant activity is therefore synonymous with the cooperative endeavor. Viewed in this light, it becomes clear that for the world to exist in all its physical majesty, nature's ways must be far more cooperative than we have hitherto been led to believe. Her order is founded on cooperation and ethical fairness in the interaction between her countless organisms. In our approach towards the environment, we could therefore not do better than to emulate the behavior of the bees, who, as Viktor Schauberger states, are known to dispense and to give whenever they take. Trees, too, are extraordinarily selfless. They silently and consistently temper the climate, tame the tempest, and supply us with oxygen to breathe and water to drink. In the light of this knowledge, we should therefore turn away from the present divisive, competitive ideology and follow nature's lead. For it is only in this way that the natural world can truly be restored to its former glory. All the above tasks demand a long-term appraisal and in-depth examination of the fundamentals of life and its continuance. This also involves a reinterpretation of the proper sphere and application of competition. Instead of its present emphasis on external action, competition should rightly be strictly applied to the internal assessment of one's own personal behavior and performance, to how one's own talent and abilities and relationship with the outer world can continue to be improved, the better to cooperate rather than compete with others. The transference of this intent to the outer world, which would do so much to restore human relationship and the natural world to a universal state of harmony, was so ably expressed. Is that ably or obly? Hold on. Ably. Okay. Was so ably expressed through slightly paraphrased here in President John F. Kennedy's famous exhortation. Do not ask what the world can do for you, but ask what you can do for the world, dude. The fuck? Alright, so I don't know what this is. Sources? Oh. Alright. Interesting. What's this? Come on. There's chapter 1. Yeah, what is this, man? Doesn't say a chapter. This is important. I guess next time I'll start on chapter 14. The demagnetization of water signifies the removal of its soul. Ouch, that's fucking deep. Wow, it says right here. Scientifically, demagnetization refers to the process of reducing or eliminating magnetic properties in the material. Water itself is diamagnetic, meaning it's weakly repelled by magnetic fields. While water's magnetic properties can be altered through techniques like magnetization, it doesn't inherently possess strong magnetic characteristics that can be demagnetized in the same way as a ferromagnetic material like iron. The soul of water. The concept of a soul is primarily a spiritual or philosophical idea, not a scientific one. Yeah, you're stupid, Google. You know that? You're fucking retarded. Google, you only think you know something. Somebody typed it, uploaded it. You fucking piece of shit. How does that? Alright. What's up, Three Fingers? Super Sidewinder. Man, this is a horrible cake. What did y'all think so far? I think I might keep reading because now it's about to get good. I don't know where chapter 1 is, but I don't care. I'm just gonna keep reading. I picked this book because it's gonna talk about the energy of the earth. And when I read the cover of this, it reminded me of the video I played yesterday where the guy was putting his finger near the plant and you can see the electricity, low voltages coming out it. Now, I don't think that naturally happened. I think he had like a Tesla coil near it, or one of those machines. It could have been wireless. Well, it had to be wireless. If people didn't see it, I could play the video again. I actually didn't know who Schauberger was, even though he's my uncle. I actually got it from, I was watching Bro Sanchez, one of his, I watched his video on how the earth, how people, and he actually brought up how the model changed from the sun being stationary at the center of the alleged universe to now all of a sudden it's flying through space. So yeah, NASA's full of shit. And just like the 13-year-old, like, if you come out and I'm pretty sure, they'll shut you down. Now, I didn't even think about it like that. Like, by us destroying their heliocentric garbage, no disrespect to people who believe are on a ball flying through space. I'm going at NASA for their lies, and yeah, you know, if we debunk that shit, they're gonna lose. I forgot how much they get a week, man. Somebody said 30 million or billion a week, but I don't think so. But I know they get a lot of money, probably trillions. Just like the kid with the $14 free energy machine, he was fucking with the electric company's money. Fuck the electric company, right? Fuck pharma. Like, people have told me they got families and they're people too. Oh well. They know what they're doing. $72 million a day. That's insane. To give us cartoons. Now, one Glober made a good point. They said, "Oh, you guys got cartoons too, right?" Which is true. But we can go outside and show real pictures of how stuff is level. The globe can't. They gotta use a fisheye lens. But anyway. Like I've said before, it's not about competition or... I'm interested where I am. Maybe other people don't care, but I do. I want to know where I am, who I am. But yeah, for the most part, I'm very interested in where we are. Maybe other people aren't, but I am. I would love to travel too at that. But you gotta get passports and all this stupid shit. You gotta be like, you gotta ask your father for permission to travel. Hi, Mr. Government. Can I have a passport, please? No. Gotta ask for permission. That's wild. Hi, Mr. Government. I want to go to China. I wonder if I gotta ask to go to Jamaica. Probably. You know what's weird? I got a coin from Jamaica, and guess who's on it? A white guy. How come there's no Jamaican? Well, a Jamaican person can be so-called, white. But I'm just saying. Anyway, who cares about that shit? I don't want to get off topic. So now I'm gonna read a little bit more of this in a second. Wow, wow, wow. Schauberger. All right. Well, I guess I'll just continue with this. Damn, I was all muted. What the fizzle dizzle? Alright, I'm going to start over. It says the demagnetization of water signifies the removal of its soul. The widespread over-exploitation of forests has caused the mountain springs to dry up. Interesting. Leading to the desolation of high alpine pastures. A particularly striking phenomena, however, is the constant deterioration in the quality of young stands of timber, in spite of all the conservation measures applied by forestry. Former high-grade species of timber and high-quality species of fish in the river channels, where water continues to flow, are disappearing in the same way as former mountain springs, which dry up when robbed of their shade-giving protectors and are thus over-illuminated and exposed to direct sunlight. So, this guy was writing this shit in the 1800s, man. And if people look, and in those days, they were already cutting down massive big trees, because I've shown pictures of it. If this guy was alive today, his book is on point. Now, I'm not saying he predicted anything. This was going on then. Now, I didn't know their springs were drying up because of it. These people don't give a fuck about Mother Earth. But anyway, I'll continue. It says even glaciers are retreating noticeably. Retreating. Let's get out of here, guys. Glaciers are retreating noticeably. Wild deer are also becoming mangy as a result of deforestation. Wow. Because they can no longer find medicinal herbs rich in ethereal, volatile essential oils, since these do not grow in lower lying areas. Huh. Where we used to go hiking with my mom and stuff, up at the reservoir there, used to, in the early morning, at the time, my mom's boyfriend, Pete, we used to go hiking into the powwows or whatever. He would go around the res and he would turn to this area near the water and put his lights on, and there would be like 70 deer, babies and everything. But now you go up there and I don't know. The last time I was up there was about 10 years ago. And yeah, I didn't see any deer. They probably all hunted down. Because most hunters will hunt anything. They don't give a fuck if it's a baby, a woman that's pregnant. They'll kill it. Because they're fucking retarded. But anyway. Where did I leave off? The Earth's solid crust is gradually drying out. And it is no exaggeration to predict that one day the major cities will cry out for water. And that our great-grandchildren will have to dig for it, as today we dig for gold or other valuable substances. One word suffices? Hold on. One word suffices to describe the mistakes made by contemporary leaders of industry and scientific advisors to government, whose experience is usually far more academic than it is practical. In various academic institutions, they are schooled in unnatural, unreal systems of water management, which I refer to as techno-academic systems. The present evils are wholly to be ascribed to the erroneous forms of water water movement thus produced, and it is for this reason that the above term has been coined. Only in this way can one explain the bioecological consequences which logically follow. If the original one planetary movement of mass is replaced by a heat and pressure increasing form of motion, this inaugurated the demagnetization of the it says source. Source? What the fuck? Is source 2? Source 2 of all life? Water? That's what it says. It says source with a number 2. I don't know. Of all life. Just how far advanced this danger to life has already become is shown by a report in the periodical Der Spiegel of the 9th of April 1954. So maybe this wasn't written in the 1890s, but it said it was. According to which at least 10,000 million. Hold up. That's what it says. 10,000 million Dutch marks. Some Deutschland. 10,000 million Dutch marks will have to be spent merely to repair the most flagrant depredations caused by the mismanagement of water resource. An extended period of drought would be quite sufficient to provoke chaotic conditions in the supply of drinking and general purpose water. German rivers are already so polluted that an average of 400,000 parasitic embryos per cubic millimeter make all use of even filtered river water impossible. Wow. It is an open secret that scientists concerned with hydrology are both helpless and perplexed in the face of these catastrophes, for otherwise these I don't know. Yeah, man. Misfortune. It says, for otherwise these malheurs would never have happened. The consequences of their incompetence are incalculable and will become all the more so if present methods of water reticulation, storage, and regulation are not radically altered. Natural methods of water conservation and treatment will have to be introduced through the enactment of a uniform set of regulations with universal applications. However, experience and know-how is lacking in this area due to the unquestioning acceptance of methods used over thousands of years. It is therefore high time that these errors be exhaustively addressed. What is to be understood by the concept of techno-academic motion? It is diametrically opposed to the one that wise nature uses to move and unprocreate. Oh, what? This again? It says procreate water? What's the fuck's with this dash? Procreate water. on, let me finish this. Come on, bro. Your thing's not coming through, so I'll finish this. These fucking cars, man. Every time I'm getting agitated. Where was I here? Dash. Okay. Giving it every possibility to reproduce, regenerate, and qualitatively evolve. However, this natural form of motion assures not only the increase and maintenance of this vital asset, but the qualitative improvement of increasingly diverse forms of growth and life as well. What's up, Kamambo? You there? Well, where did I leave off? This natural form of motion will here be called planetary motion, for the reason that all planets, including our Earth, move in just such a manner. Now let me pause for a second. Earth does not move. Moreover, the various kinds of blood, sap, and juices have also to avail themselves of this type of motion in order to maintain and constantly improve the progressive forces of reproduction and upward evolution. However, when techno-academic motion was introduced, the vital opportunities mentioned above became increasingly inhibited as technology expanded the application of the reverse form of motion. In view of this, it is also necessary to define the term technical or techno-academic motion more precisely. Technical is derived from the ancient Greek word technao, which means skill or artifice. I think it might be, yeah, artifice or artifice. Artifice means skill or artifice, and hence something unnatural or not naturally occurring, and therefore deceitful. On these grounds, even the ancient Greeks unconditionally rejected such motion, for with it, heat intensifying, centrifuging and destructive forces are triggered off in substance having a bipolar charge, earth, water, and air. According to ancient knowledge, the economy of any people or nation who make use of this treacherous form of mass motion will collapse, because it confers spiritual and physical ponderousness. As a result, earlier cultures disappeared in conformity with natural law, as little by little the original planetary form as mass motion was replaced by the techno-academic form. One more paragraph. In order to comprehend the full ramifications of the unnatural motion introduced by mechanically minded science, the term motion or movement must likewise be defined in terms of its natural manifestation. According to an old saying, quote, the wrong motive impulse can turn the whole world upside down, end quote. And in an intermixture of bipolar elements, every motion triggers reactive effects of an atomic and imperceptible nature, whether supplementary energies evolve from sediment, minerals, or metallic trace elements, or from the earthly remains of earlier life forms depends on the shape of the apparatus in which these substances are moved and the alloys used in its fabrication. As reactive components of pressure and traction, suction, these forces control the metaphysical, metamorphic currents, the panta, whatever, already known to antiquity. What's this? Page 16? Where's chapter 1, man? God damn, this book don't got chapters? Anyway. What's up, come on, Bo?
Yo, Charles,
How's everything?
what's happening?
Hey, what's up, Dom?
Yo, it's cool. Everything's cool.
That's good.
Oh,
Just reading this book by
it's late in the day.
Viktor Schauberger. Damn, let me check my mic. I don't know why. See, it's the fucking settings. Mic check.
Yeah, I can.
Now, it's probably too
You
loud
still
now. What about now?
radio.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, got a
I swear, every time I go
speakerphone.
live, there's like 900 cars driving by that are loud. It's almost like the Matrix was like, you know, I'm going live, send out the noisy cars. But it's a good book right here.
Do you know Albert Schweitzer?
Huh?
Albert Schweitzer.
The guy I was just reading? No, that's Viktor Schauberger. No, I don't, no. Is he a German guy?
All right. I don't know. I never heard of him.
But,
So, what's the book about?
The book that I'm just started is about, it's called The Fertile Earth, and Viktor Schauberger talks about the energies of the earth and the soil and the energy the soil has, and how plants need certain energies to grow. And then he was just talking about, how bad it is when they're cutting trees down, but they don't plant them, and it's what I was just reading about, and the fertilization of the soil, and just how cutting trees down too also ruins the seasons. And this book is very interesting because Viktor Schauberger also played a part in, building and creating these, I'll say, free energy machines, or UFOs, or UABs, whatever people want to call the damn things, but they're not from aliens. but they're just reverse
Mm.
engineered technology that's already been here. That's all.
Have you ever lived in a engineering environment?
In a what environment?
Engineering.
No.
I have.
That's awesome. What type of
So
engineering?
what you mining?
Mining? Meaning like
Well, I tell
those big machines that dig underground?
I don't know what they do. They crush rock.
Yeah. The boring machines. Those big giant machines.
Blasting. Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Um, what? Ah, here we go. Do, 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 do.
So you can reverse engineer and then make something.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
How about a computer?
Yep. I think that's how.
Can you build
Excuse me.
a
I
computer?
think that's how they got computers, by reverse engineering something they found. What the fuck is wrong with this thing?
But it has to work, doesn't it? For you to reverse engineer.
Wow.
What went wrong?
Damn, all I want is a picture of um shit. They're doing a lot of construction in Connecticut here. With, but I wonder. There's this guy who was digging in his farm and the ground was shaking. I wonder if those were boring machines. Hold on, I gotta get more coffee.
Pink Sidewinder.
My bad. Oh, shit. Let's see. Where did I leave off? See if I can.
I didn't read the title.
He came out with a book called The Water Wizard. So how did this guy write a book? Oh, he died in 1958. No wonder
Jehovah's
the world.
Witnesses.
No wonder the world had to come together to annihilate my German family. What the fuck?
The League of Nations.
Alright, let's see. How am I gonna get. Why the. Oh, that's why. I'm like, why can't I share?
Unidentified.
People want to join, you're more than welcome. For the most part. But, what's up, Mr. Super Sidewinder?
What up, Charles? Been a while, man.
Yes. How's everything going? Let's see.
Good, man. My birthday was yesterday. I got to spend it online with some friends. It was really cool. And I heard you played one of your songs the other day, man. I'm not a real big fan of rap, but I can tell you got it going on. It was really good.
Thank you. And happy belated birthday. How young are you now?
63.
That's young.
Yeah, right.
It's a
Yeah. I'm already in my mid
significant
40s,
number.
and it sucks. I try to tell myself I'm only 18.
I'm just going to
Maybe I
flip mine
could
around
change
and
my
say it's
brain.
36 from then on. I don't think it's gonna work,
Oh,
dude.
yeah, I'm trying to work on more music with Hurricane and Sir Drop, but I just want to put out a lot of what people call conscious hip hop, like the song I played earlier talks about drugs and stuff because it's the old me, and I labeled it I forgot Sun Ignorance because I'm just talking about ignorant shit. But I tried to like the song I played that day was a new one we got called Tell I Vision, but I'm trying to just drop knowledge and wisdom in these rhymes for the youth if they choose to listen. And then if they choose to go look stuff up, but because the youth are just misled all around, man. They're killing each other over the dumbest shit. At least when I was young, it was the beginning of guns, right? But even then, people were, would rather fight with their hands than shoot someone. It was just to protect for But now it's like the youth don't even want to lose in a fight. They'll shoot you. But
Right.
all these stupid rappers, they have such a voice, so many followers of the youth, and that's all they choose to talk about. I guess they must be controlled and not allowed to talk about shit. Even Wu Tang was shut down at a certain point. They were told to. Method Man said in an interview they were told to cut it out.
That shit's so low-minded, man.
Shit, one day
Wu
those gang
Tang.
members might need to fight next to each other. You never know.
Yeah, dude.
Wu Tang Killer Bee.
What was that? I'm kind of bored out a
I
little
was
bit.
saying, my friend brought some Wu Tang to Africa
Yeah.
on some label. Yeah, they had a distribution deal or
That's
something.
awesome.
So he came with instrumental before the album came out or something like that. Oh, we heard it. I heard it. I heard it instrumental, like it was a whole album of instrumental,
Awesome.
Cool.
because he was a DJ. He had but I remember the beats, but I never heard my friends were listening to Wu Tang when I was at uni in my first year, but I never. They used to just sing like bits of it. So I never even heard that album. That was in 1995. So which album was that?
Um,
Oh,
man,
fucking
95. They dropped a few. I think
so
it's
asshole
old dirty
closed.
bastard. Um, could have been old dirty bastard.
It keep
95. Let me look it up. I think Old Dirty came out that year. 95. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. So in 95, it was Old Dirties, Return to the 36 Chambers. Then the Jizza came out with Liquid Swords, and then Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links.
I heard of that one also. Because then I skipped schools. And other friend, Wu Tang also.
What's up, Mark?
Had a couple of friends. Yeah.
Man, I was a Wu fanatic growing up. That's where I kind of learned how to write rhymes. The first time I heard Method Man, no, the first Wu I ever heard, I think was the Gravediggers, but that's like an offshoot, the RZA's group. It was Gravediggers and the 36 Chambers first album. When I heard that, I never heard nothing like it. I was hooked. The Kung Fu, I was like, wow, so creative. And Wu Tang opened a lot of my creativity. Um, and that's how I learned how to rhyme. Like, I didn't even know how to. I still to this day don't know how to structure a song. Like, I don't know what 16 bars is. Just give me the fucking pad, a pen, and let's go. I don't know how to count bars. That's crazy, right? I started right when I was like 12 or 13 in 1994,
That's pretty cool.
I think it was. 93 or 94. I think it was 94 is my first rhyme. Or maybe 93. I don't know. But
Yeah, I used to read a lot of magazines. I used to like hip hop magazines, but I never used to get a lot of music, hip hop music, because in my high school, yeah, you had to have connections, to get an original from America. But there were some youths who had a lot of hip hop, and they used to play it on the radio. LL Cool J, Run DMC. I remember walking with a Panther. And Yvette, dear Yvette. Yvette was a girl that I liked a lot. She kept on saying, "Cool, don't do it."
I wonder if this is readable. We'll find out. Oh, interesting. It's readable. Cool. Yeah, I know this book is going to be so interesting. I just don't want to stop reading it. But I was watching Bro Sanchez, and he put together a good video on. He like I don't want to say debunked, but a lot of Globers do bounce because there's two different models. There's the model that I remember where the sun's the center of the universe and it don't move. But the new model, right, is the sun all of a sudden is flying through space now. But it's
That's
in
right. The old model was called heliocentric, and the Globies still think they're following that model, but it's not. Now it's called acentric, and the A is an unknown that they think must be at the center of the universe. It's
crazy.
hilarious.
And then you try to tell them the same stars. Now I know stars change, but for the most part, these stars haven't. They've been there thousands of years, over and over
Yeah,
and
the
over,
same
especially
constellation.
Orion's belt.
And what about astronomical alignments? Buildings where you can see through a peephole and a particular star lines up every day? Try that on a spinning ball.
Yeah. And how about and the pyramids that align with these, the ancestors built. They mapped. That's the only way you can map out the stars if they're not changing. If you're flying through space, how the hell they map the stars out? They would change every fucking second. But one day,
You would never
hopefully,
see a star as a single point of light either, Charles. All the stars would be streaks, and you'd have shooting stars that went up, but they always come down.
that's a good point because when you speed up the tape, when you record the stars at night, when you speed it up, it does streak from the movement. So
Right.
yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yep. Huh. And yeah,
But
you're
the
right. They would come
sun
they
was
would
a
come up
race.
at the bottom of the horizon. Someone brought that up,
Yeah,
and
you'd
that's a
see them.
very good point.
You'd
Now,
see them going in every different direction. You wouldn't just see them always falling down. They would go in every
right.
direction, and they
But
wouldn't be called falling stars. They'd just be called streaking stars. Think about it. Falling stars. They're always falling down.
now I've seen a video where this Glober showed a star, and he said, "Look, it's coming up from the bottom of the horizon." And I said, "No, it's coming to you. It's not." Someone says, the sun. How did they put it? They said the sun is going below the horizon, and I said in the comments, I said, "Is the sun going? It's not going below the horizon. It's going out of your fucking view."
Yep, farther away. Yeah.
I forgot how I put it, but anyway, yeah, that's basically what I said. Was it's not going below the horizon; it's going beyond the horizon.
And it's close and local and the exact same
How come you
size as
see
the
it?
moon.
Yeah, it's and they'd be like, "Well, why would NASA lie?" Well, 75. What did this guy say?
Of
That
course,
was Sidewinder, right? That said that it's a. Hold on, let me look. I think it was 75 billion. Someone said 72 million per day. God. Now I understand why. Sorry, come on, boy. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Now I know why they took out that little boy who was creating free energy devices, and that's messed up. A child, man, 13 years old. I say young man, but he was a child. At 13, you're still the child. Even at 18, you're a fucking child. Even at 20, I think. Now that I'm 44, I still think 20 is a child. I thought I was a grown man at 20, but I didn't know shit at 20 for the most part. I was ignorant to a lot. I thought I knew it all. I thought I knew it all at 13. I didn't know shit.
moon.
I was a little punk, man. And I don't mean gay when I say
age.
punk, but
I said it's significant. Age 13. I think adulthood is 20, but I consider myself at 20.
I'm gonna switch back to my phone.
Like I did some thing with my intuition. Or by interpretation. Is that a fuel brand?
Excuse me.
Interesting. All right. So now look at it.
It reminds me of BP.
It's still
British
stuck.
Petroleum.
Why is this thing stuck?
Go green.
What is going on here? There we go. What the heck? Dude. Alright. Now, I had a couple good pictures here. You could see, I think this is Toronto coming from somewhere across the Great Lakes. Now, people would say, Chuck, the bottom of the city is under the curvature. No, the water's swelling up. A, it's manipulated, and B, when it's going out of your sight, it disappears from the feet up, always. So there's no curvature. Go down, get a level road, right? Get a level road and walk backwards, and I guarantee you, when stuff starts getting out of your sight, it'll disappear from the ground up. I know a lot of people. You're borging out. I know a lot of people say, you know, what does it matter? They don't want to hear it. But that's fine. A lot of people say, what does it matter? No, it matters to me. Because I'm very interested in it. Bing, bing. Well, you said you tried to say something, Mr. Super Sidewinder?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, I think that was Kamambo. He's borging out.
Yep.
Look at this picture. Hey, did you ever see that? You ever see that documentary, Mr. Super Sidewinder? I think it's called Level. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one, but the guy in the airplane that used infrared, I think he was coming over the Gulf of Mexico, and he could see the mountain range all the way out near Cali. That was amazing.
900 miles.
Yeah, that was insane. I want to, I got to screen record that and show people. A lot of people don't believe me. They'd be like, that's impossible. I'm like, no, it's not.
Stop showed a video last night of a guy taking a picture or video with his cell phone camera next to like a skyscraper. And the guy walks up to the skyscraper, and as he does, he's pointing his camera like more and more up. So it's looking directly up along the skyscraper.
Mm-hmm.
Until he actually touches the building. So you get this perspective thing. It looks just like you're looking across flat and level land. And it looks like the top of the building turns away from you the whole 9 yards.
That's creative. I like when people do things like that.
Yeah, I do.
Like my favorite thing I like to tell, I even tell my friend this, and he starts to think, and then the defense mode kicks in. He automatically defends the lie. But I tell him, you can't even see down the street, right? But you could look up and see 95 million miles away. You could see light years and trillion million miles away. It don't even make sense. You can't even see down the fucking street completely.
You can see details on the moon, like the craters and all that sort of shit, with the naked eye at 238,000 miles, dude. You got super eyes or what?
Sounds like a long.
Damn, there was something I wanted to bring up. Oh, here it is. Yeah, you just mentioned this, which is awesome. This right here. You got China. That's 3 of the pyramids. You got Mexico, Egypt, the constellation, and then you got the Atlantic Ocean. Now, I screenshotted some Bro Sanchez, but I don't know this Atlantic Ocean. I want to find that. It's called the Siwarte Seamounts. I wonder if that is down near the islands. I can only imagine what's under the fucking ocean. I think.
I'm sure if you type that phrase in, I'm sure it'll tell you right first off where it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. Siwarte Seamounts. Siwarte. Sirote.
Yeah, none of this shit's by chance, man. Those all line up absolutely perfect.
Oh shit. All right, here we go. Can y'all hear me?
I can, yeah.
Sure.
All right, it says the Siwarte Seamounts, also known as the Siwarte Seamount Chain, at Atlantis Great Meteor Seamount Chain, and the Atlantis Plato Cruiser Great Meteor Seamount Group. Damn. Is a north-south trending group of extinct submarine volcanoes. Now they're volcanoes, right? Which they're probably really pyramids, but they're calling them volcanoes.
Right.
It says it doesn't really say much. Oh, it says the result of the African plate, whatever that means. New England hotspot. So it's over the New England hotspot. It don't say much. It doesn't say much in this fucking thing here. That's all it says. Let me see if I could get some better images.
If you have to, type it into Google Earth.
That's true. So, all right. Oh shit. Okay. So, the fuck, man. Oh shit. I'm over here trying to come in. That was funny. I didn't know I could do that. That was odd. I'm already in my StreamYard, but I accidentally was going to come into it twice. So this is what I found. I remember this map at the bottom, but they're saying these are off the coast of Africa, I think. Yeah. Oh, shit. Wow. That island does line up with this one on the map. I think a lot of these waters, the ocean waters, and here's the things under the water here on Google Earth, I guess, 2020. I think the oceans, even you know, if the ice walls they say are 360 degrees, all around us. On the old maps, some of that is desert. It shows desert, and there's civilizations that were living there. Some war happened, I don't know, but I think a lot of this water is came from either they hit something and the water started coming in, or I don't know, but I don't think these oceans were nowhere near this high. I think that's why there's so many civilizations under it.
If you dig deep enough, you'll find that We're getting a bad echo.
Yeah, hold on.
Test. Yeah, it's better. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so if you dig deep enough, you'll find that the water level at one point were much, much higher. We have like crustaceans and other sea life at near the tops of some of our tallest mountains. And on the other side of the equation, you'll see where civilizations used to exist and the water line has come up and covered them up. So it's been much lower than it is, and it's been much higher than it is. All the salt flats are another evidence of that too. Obviously, that was salty brine oceanic water that dried up and left a salt flat, interestingly enough, flat again. So 70% flat water plus the salt flats plus like all the states that are flatter than a pancake.
Sorry, I backed out because you said the echo was bad, and that's why I muted Kamambo. I don't know. I checked my settings, and everything seems to be up to par. What's up, Faceplant? And Peace Foods and Tools. Can the Dummy asked you, is Sovereign Soul going live or something? I don't know.
He was on the other night. I don't know what he's going on next. But he was on the other night.
But yeah, even in the Pacific, I wonder. Like I remember this globe. Hold on. Come on. Gotta be kidding me. It's pissing me off. You can't even text someone without getting booted out. Anyway. Yeah, in the globe between Cali and Asia, there's all that space of ocean. And I used to look at that globe in school and be like, they can't be all that ocean and no other land. I think they're hiding land from us, one, especially the outer lands.
Well, yeah.
I think we're pretty much on an infinite plane.
They're hiding shit that's much closer to the center, and and all the distraction of Antarctica is to keep you from thinking about the only true direction, man, true north.
Just like they like to, I've noticed too with this his story, or people call it history, but all these German inventors, and I'm not saying they invented like everything, because they pretty much reverse engineered a lot of stuff from the ancestors, but between religions conquering lands and forcing people to join their religions, people done forgot who they are. And then between NASA and all these indoctrination camps, or through indoctrination camps, people forgot where they are, who we are. We're fully engulfed in indoctrination.
Yep.
But the Germans had so much technology until the US, Britain, like all these countries had to come together to rob Germany of all their technology. And then, like, I'm not saying anything good about Hitler, but what's that? That's a fan from a computer. You put magnets on it to make it turn infinitely. Come on, Bo, you're muted. I just muted you up because there's interference. You put magnets on there.
No,
He's got a.
I think I got it back like this. I got my. They removed my motherboard and put in a new one. And then they gave me the motherboard with this. Because I think this was okay.
Yeah, that's the motherboard.
Replace it.
But I've seen people put magnets on there. They put them on the blade, and then they put reverse or somehow, and then it'll spin infinitely, and that's how they're creating power, just a small voltage. But I showed a video. I don't know if you've seen the video, Mr. Super Sidewinder, about free energy and how many people were killed that create something, and the government kills them and takes their inventions.
That was like your last stream or something, right?
Huh? Yeah, you seen it?
That was on your last
video?
Stream?
Yeah.
No, I didn't catch your last stream because I was busy or whatever. I was gonna go back and watch it.
I'll play it right now then, real quick. It's only 3 minutes.
Yeah,
so you
cool.
can see what I'm talking about. All right.
What we have here is a standard AC6H non-contact AC voltage detector.
The leg is bent, eh?
Now what this thing does is
They
tell
said
you
they
where
couldn't-
electricity is.
I thought this
For
was
example,
a power supply.
This wire is dead. There's no.
So they
I
couldn't
have
replace the
seen
power
this one.
supply.
We debunked that one. That's bullshit.
Hold on, I'll play it again. What was that?
I said we debunked this one. It's bullshit. If you think about it, those detectors you couldn't use them up on a second or third floor. They'd only be good at ground level because he's got it beeping just holding it above his head, dude. It's fake video.
Oh, I know. Well, I don't know, but I want to try it myself. I don't know if I have one of those. I have something similar. Well, hold on. Let me play it again. I want to try that experiment for myself just to see, but I'm pretty sure it'll work if you went higher. But hold on, I'm gonna play it again.
What we have here is a standard AC6H non-contact AC voltage detector. Now what this thing does is tell you where electricity is. For example, this wire is dead. There's no electricity because I had the switch off. If I turn the switch on, it now says there's electricity. Cool thing about this is it'll pick up any voltage, anything between. Let's see, this one is actually 50 volts to 1,000 volts, category 4, 1,000 volts. So here's the weird thing I'd like to show you. What's up there? I'm not doing anything to it, guys. Kind of weird.
Holy crap, that's so... Look at the cooling fan! It's like a plane propeller. It's so...
So yeah, Ben showed you how to turn it on, right?
So this is supposed to be a mercury arc rectifier. What is this?
Dude. Whoa. Good. How close can we get to the thing?
Wow. How many volts is it generating?
800 volts.
Wow.
Well, it's maxed out at 800 volts.
How old is this thing?
1940s, bro.
This was Max Logan, and at 13 years old, he discovered a device that cost only $14 and could create pure energy. Called it electromagnetic harvester. And now people don't know what happened to him. I searched it myself, and some people say that he's missing. Other people said that he passed away with his mother in a car crash. Creating pure energy for only $14 is insane, so people think that the government came after him. But you can let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Let's play a game. I'm gonna name off some random people and you tell me how many random coincidences there are. So this is Dmitry Petronov. Apparently he created a plasma battery that powered his 2-story house for 16 months. In 2010, he went to a bakery and that's the last time the world ever saw him. Coincidentally, this is Zachary Warfield. He was also working on a plasma battery. He even met with Dmitry a couple of times to exchange notes. He died in a crazy boating accident. Stefan Marinov is the leader of the European free energy movement. Apparently, they made a ton of headway. He had a breakthrough, but he fell out of a window. What? Oh, by the way, if you've already seen this video, it's because I posted one and it got pulled down for a nuclear physicist that worked with one of the largest military contractors in the world. He discovered something big, but then died of arsenic poisoning.
So the...
Good stuff.
I got that from that guy, James. But I didn't want to, every time I play someone's video, I get fucking stricken down, man. So I just chopped it up and put the important parts. I'm getting tired of people tell you to share their stuff or play it, and then you get fucking copyrighted. It don't make sense, or So I got enough. I had enough of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have took my time and searched for all the videos, but sometimes I'm lazy.
Yeah, I hear you. It's all in one place, man. So what do you think about that Mercury arc generator?
I thought that was pretty cool, and it made me think about. It had me thinking about I'll say Tartaria for lack of better words. All around this realm, I think they spun mercury to create an arc or generate energy. I think they used to spin mercury, and these capitals, I call them capitals, but they're beautiful buildings, especially Hartford, Connecticut's capital, in my opinion, is the best one out of all 50. But the gold leafing that's on the dome, I think, played a part with the mercury too. And in Hartford, I got 3 buildings that have, they go into a pyramid pitch, and then they have they call them flagpoles, but I don't think they're flagpoles now. But I think they used to catch the lightning and turn
A
it
lot
into.
of those poles and spires and stuff had a big ball in the middle of them too. I think that was the same thing. I think that was mercury in there.
You know, I feel bad for that 13-year-old young child, man. They didn't have to kill him like that. And how about the guy who invented a car?
In silence without, like, we don't really even get good closure on that shit. Bad news.
Yep. I mean, I could only imagine the parents. Like, Johnson & Johnson killed my mother. I can't imagine how many other children they took out. Fuck that unalive shit.
Like,
killed.
Just knowing about the way that they think and operate, I would say it's more likely he went missing than was terminated. Like, they pulled him into a laboratory somewhere, you know,
and picked his brain apart.
Put him on a milk jug.
Right. Or, yeah, you're right. They probably kidnapped him, and because he's so intelligent and smart, they forced him to work for him.
Right. Because either way, he's out of the picture, but one way he could still benefit them. So I think they would be more likely to try that first.
Right. They'd be like, we'll give you, the child could have had nothing, and they'd be like, we'll give you whatever you want. And boom, the child's like, all right.
That's why we say this whole system is carrot and stick, man. They offer you the carrot up front. If you won't take it, you will get the stick.
I used that in one of my rhymes. I said, I cherry pick my information. I don't chase carrots. I don't know. I was thinking of vegetables and fruit. So I said, I cherry pick my information. I don't chase carrots. Yeah, I had your song, man. I used to listen to it, but when my phone crashed, it broke. I still think somebody sent me a file, because the way my phone crashed, it's like self-destructed. It was weird, man. I was on the bus, and I was getting off to go to work, and all of a sudden my phone just self-destructed. It just turned off and never turned back on. It kind of like self-destructed, it looked like. It was weird, man. That's the second time that's happened to me. I got a whole pile of phones in my drawer. I think I'm gonna just smash them and get rid of them. You know, people got to realize, don't throw your phone out. Just don't throw it out. Smash that bitch into pieces, because they could still pull anything out of it if you just throw it out.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna take a hammer and just annihilate it. I don't know. The government, they get away with just way too much. Poisoning the water and the food and just all this shit, man. I'm not looking for no president to save us. I'm not looking for no deity to save us. I know as a fact we need to save ourselves and start holding these people accountable, because no one else is going to do it. Like, when I say no one else, I mean no government official is going to do it. No cops, no FBI, none of that. It's going to be up to us.
That's fact.
People are looking for Trump to save the day. It's not going to happen.
No, never going to happen.
You know, Trump will do a few things just to make it look like, and it'll be minor, just to make it look like he's really on our side, but he's not. See, when they start doing that, is they know the people are getting a little fussy and they're starting to ask too many questions, so they got to give a hero. You know, they use these rappers already, like Prodigy. You know, he was saying, oh, he's a revolutionist and this and that. Then he ends up dead. And, I love the dude and his lyrics, but I think he got paid to pretty much do what was done. That's just my opinion. I think they
People
offered
want
him
to
a
think
lot of
their
money
vote
and he
counts,
took it.
and then when a president gets in, he starts passing all these executive orders. That's a dictatorship. I don't care what you call it. You know?
Oh, that's what's his name? What's up, Naga? Kamambo's back.
What's going on, bro? Salute, bro. Much love and respect to the chat and the panel.
I got the video right here of Prodigy when he said he's building an army, and as soon as he said he's the next Malcolm X, that raised a lot of flags, because if he truly had his eyes open, he would know that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all them leaders were given just as well as the so-called black community, the so-called white community. We're all given these bullshit heroes and villains. They've provided us with all that to keep us fucking lost, you know. And I don't, like I said, I love Prodigy's Hegelian Dialectic album and all that, but he left breadcrumbs just like Tupac. He started right in that album, he starts talking about he's gonna die and he'll be sitting next to God by the time this and that. And I'm like, damn, it's a little too much of a coincidence here. I don't know. That's my opinion. And if they did really take him out, I don't know. I would love to talk to his daughter. I'm just curious. Not that she would say anything, but maybe they did take him out for speaking too much, because he was talking against like Jay-Z and some of these high-powered people. But just like Trump, when they tried to assassinate him, they're trying to make it look like if you speak out, this is what's going to happen to you. But that's bullshit. That don't scare me. I'm still going to speak out. Fuck that. They want something, bring it, man. That's all I can say.
I'm not with that irritating nonsense. That was all for show.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Right. I'm back.
I think the 9/11 too, I think was put into play because too many people then were asking questions. They needed a distraction. And I don't think that's the entire reason why that happened, because they have other reasons why they did it. Because, what sticks with me is only a week after that incident, the Patriot Act came into play. And if that don't look pre-planned, I don't know what is. But right when 9/11 happened, that was a domino effect. I think that was the war on the people too, and that's when the country started to go down the shitter quick.
Yep. But I think that event was planned for a very long time, like from the inception of the building.
Yeah. Did you ever see that picture, Super Sidewinder, of the Twin Towers when the sun's shining through the building?
Yeah,
you
they
could
were
literally
empty.
see the building.
Yeah, they were empty.
Yeah. That's odd. So what do you think about I think the planes were fake, in my opinion. And this is all for entertainment purposes. But yeah, I think, because I got footage of no planes.
I knew a lot about the construction of that building. It was all steel frame and concrete, and in the middle of it there was a solid pillar of stone and concrete for both the elevator shafts and whatnot. And in one of the shots, the plane went in one side of the building and came out the other side, and the nose cone wasn't even dented yet. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember seeing the replay of a lot of videos, and the wing of the plane went through a building. It didn't even get ripped off. It literally went through the building.
And it left an airplane-shaped cartoon hole.
That would have never happened. Even the people who built I remember watching videos on the people, the architects and the people who built the building, and they said that that building was designed to take 3 of them plane hits. And the guy even said there was so much steel and the concrete they used was like fused with like something like plastic. I mean, that type of concrete where you hit it with a hammer, it'll bounce right off it. That type of concrete.
Reinforced like fiberglass, right.
Yeah. And that's what it was built with. So yeah, and when I was watching that live, I'll never forget, I was working 3rd shift at Target, and I got woken up and I ran into the living room and I'm watching it and I'm waiting for the plane parts to fall and just fuck people up, and nothing happened. You don't see no seats falling, no tires. Then I thought the building would tip over and fall into other buildings, and they fell straight down. I'm like, damn, something ain't right. But look at this footage.
And then I don't know if you know this or not.
Oops,
but
sorry.
They weren't the right type of plane parts. Listen, they weren't the right type of parts for the planes that were.
They weren't the right type of what?
They weren't the right kind of parts. They didn't match the aircraft.
No, okay, yeah.
Well, I'm saying they dumped airplane parts to make it look like airplane parts fell from the crash, but they didn't match the right type of aircraft.
How about they didn't find not a desk, not a fucking doorknob, nothing, but they found the guy's ID. That made me laugh when that happened. And it was pristine too. The fucking thing was in the best condition ever.
Yeah, dude.
That whole thing was just poorly done, but most people believe it. They buy it 1,000%. And if you tell them any different, they get so angry. How dare you? My Uncle Johnny was in there. Even the phone call with the so-called people on the plane, I think that was fixed in a load of crap too.
And nothing hit Building 7 and it fell right over.
And the pentagram.
Now, I think it says like 7 buildings went down that day. It's something stupid. It starts at like,
How about the pentagram? I mean the Pentagon too. They said a plane hit that one. And it looked like somebody pulled up and threw a bunch of luggage on the lawn. There was no plane parts found. Not a tire, not a seat. It was this little ass hole in the building. No plane could have fit in that. This little hole.
About the size of a missile hole. Huh.
Yeah. It's probably a missile. Yeah. That whole thing was a joke. And they always got to keep the war on terror. So then they could have all these cameras on every street corner. That was how they tricked the people. Is they started doing these incidents where I'll call them the indoctrination camps because I don't want to say too much, but the indoctrination camps were under attack or whatever. That's when people were like, "We got to put cameras up everywhere." You know, the beginning of that, because it happened in Connecticut, was the beginning of those things. And I remember tearing that apart, like, "Oh, this is a load of bullshit, man." Right when they want gun control, that started happening. You know, let's penalize the people who legally carry. That don't make any sense. They're always penalizing people who legally carry. That's how you know they want to take our guns.
Yeah.
That's when they made vests. You got to register your bulletproof vests in Connecticut. And you know, wouldn't you think if that happened, you would want people to protect themselves? But no.
Right.
I get sick and tired of the government. I'm not trying to bitch and complain, but I'm gonna leave this up and let's see what happens. You know, people can call it whatever they want, but if we stop speaking out, you know, I know I complain, I get tired of speaking, but I'm not gonna stop, because the minute we stop, I think, is the minute we're gonna moonwalk backwards. If we don't stop, then, you know, once we stop speaking out, we are gonna go backwards a lot. We have to start all over.
Yeah. Right.
Check this footage out, Mr. Super Sidewinder. This is the footage I remember. Now, I'm not saying I didn't see the plane, the ones with the planes flying in the building, but I remember seeing footage of this, and I remember when the firemen arrived, it just so happened the news crews were already there somehow, but I remember them running into the building, and people were running out all messed up saying, bombs went off, bombs went off. Nobody even said a plane hit. It was all bombs were going off. But yeah, this is the footage that somebody sent me. Check this out.
Wow.
No plane.
That apparently does look like it is in the other building at this point.
And then the floors too that it exploded on had to do with
Back off. They're telling us to back off.
But anyway, there's only a couple more minutes. But that's the same footage they used to edit in the planes. Because I remember that same helicopter. The lady was zoomed out. And as soon as they zoomed in, then all of a sudden the plane appeared. But yeah, that's the raw footage where they edited in the planes. They used that same footage to edit in planes.
Wow.
There's so much evidence to put Bush and his cronies away. But people are just don't even want to involve themselves, man. And that's sad.
Comes down to what you said, accountability. If they're not held accountable, why wouldn't they keep doing it?
Yeah. When they see people don't care and they're so indoctrinated and hypnotized by these televisions, that's another thing. Growing up, my mom had one TV in the house, in the apartment. I didn't get a TV in my room until I was about, damn, I don't even remember, man. 13, probably later than that. Yeah, about 13. And I barely watched it. It had to be like a serious reason why I was inside watching cartoons or something. But for the most part, I was outside all the time. I didn't want to be in the house. But yeah, one television in the room. My mother didn't buy me no Nintendo or nothing like that. I was always outside. But as time went on, now everyone has a TV everywhere. People even got TVs in the fucking bathroom, right? They got a phone in their hand all the time. So this indoctrination and the hypnotization is everywhere now. You're sure enough going to get their message uploaded. There's no excuses anymore. At least back in the days, most people went camping, fishing. No one was in the house watching these fucking TV. Now the devices are everywhere. That's part of their plan to. These things are like snatching people's souls out of them. They remind me of the Ghostbuster machine. People are looking into this thing and it's just ripping the soul right out of your eyes. We're fucked. Imagine breaking a tower, right? And all these phones go dead. Imagine how many people are going to withdraw and start going nuts. Including me, because I would, when my phone broke, the first 24 hours, I didn't know what to do with myself. But then I remembered there's plenty of things to do without a phone. You could
Yeah,
speak
we were
anytime,
better off,
Naga.
without any of this tech. We were way better off. People can't remember a phone number anymore, dude. How to navigate.
Damn, I remember. Man, when I was younger, I remembered all my friends' phone numbers by heart.
Yeah.
Because we had no choice. And you know, I could have written it down. I remember you said these little pocket things, like, I don't want to call them notebooks, but like pocket things to write numbers down. But then I played in the rain, sleet, it didn't matter. Any weather, I was outside. But yeah, I miss, if I could do my life again, it wouldn't be to change much. It would be to just relive the 90s again. The best times ever. In the late 80s were awesome.
Yep. Yep. For me too.
I was born in 81. Perfect time. Yeah, life is short. Sometimes I think it's too short. I personally think these people have the technology to live 400 years. I think it's about what you put in your body. And I also think they have these I forgot the name already. These oscillators. I was reading about in the 1800s, it was like the 1880s, this guy had an oscillator. I think these churches were not healing centers for the most part, but even the organs, certain frequency. I remember all some churches had old copper organs, and now none of these. They took them all out of these old churches, but they all had organs in them. And I think that too, and bells, copper bells, and that would set the frequency of your body right if it was off. And now
just drive all the parasites and evil spirits away too.
Yeah, you remember that video I did? That video I did about parasites and demonic possessions, one and the same.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time looking into that. I think so too, man.
Not to toot my own horn, but I was one of the first people to bring that up, and now I see tons of channels talking about it. They took my shit and ran with it. It's just fine. I'm glad. I want people to look into it.
Yeah, if it gets out, it's okay, man. I get it though.
I want them to look into it.
Yep.
Yeah, that book is a good book, man. I advise people to. I'm gonna keep reading it, but because it's only 200 pages, but every time I go live, I'll read some of it. That Viktor Schauberger, I think Naga left.
Yeah, that was good. I hate to interrupt, man. I want to hear more of that.
I might finish the this chapter before I end the video because I just want to see. Let me see if I still on my laptop here. Maybe I don't have to turn the computer on the internet. I might have to. Let's see. Nope, it's still here. Where did I leave off? Oh, right here. Yeah, it was getting really good. What'd you think about that little clip that was in there about the guy touching the plant and you could see the little electricity? Now,
I agree with you. I don't think that was organic. I think he had a Tesla coil head there, or Vandergraaf generator or something.
Right.
But we've done
so
a
you
lot
heard
of
me when
looking
that,
into plants, man. We've seen plants mimic other plants. We've seen trees that can walk. We've seen plants that can count. I mean, if you look deep, man, like they respond to emotion when you're intending to harm them or a sin. Fucking pretty incredible.
Trees are very intelligent. I even think there's plants out there that can heal your body completely. That's why they wanted to get rid of witches. I think that was one of the reasons why, because witches, they evilized witches. I'll make a word up. They evilized witches, so then people would think it's evil, and they stop looking into plants, and because they thought that was all witchcraft and evil. But plants, I think our body is like 90% plant based or something like that. And all the herbs and stuff that's good for the body that the body needs, and you know, botany and all that stuff. You know, a lot of my German ancestors were burned alive. Well, I ain't just German. My father's side, I think it's Lithuanian and Italian or something like that. But my grandmother's German, and my grandpa was Polish and German, I think. Yeah, German and Polish. My grandma was 100% German. Last name's Kraus.
Dude, even some of the plants give you clues what they're good for. Like kidney beans are good for the kidney. Walnuts look like a brain, and they're good for your brain. A slice of a carrot looks like an eye, and they're good for your eyes. Tomato looks like a heart. It's good for your heart. Like you go through the whole list, man. There's like a million.
And it's very true, man. Isn't that amazing how the fruit and vegetables grow and they align with the shape of your body, like parts? That to me, man, that's amazing. Even the human body is amazing. Like, they tell you you're born into sin, and this, they try to automatically upload that into your mind that you're born and you're just a mistake
for your whole fucking existence, right?
Right.
You should feel guilty
That's
about
terrible.
your existence. That's horrible, dude.
My inner voice, when the preachers would say that, my inner voice would say, he's full of shit. How am I born into sin? You know, you're born into this world innocent. You know, they upload this crap into your mind, like you said, to put a guilt trip on you to make you feel bad.
Yep.
And to me, that's all full of garbage,
Control,
man.
It's all a control mechanism.
Churches, these preachers and stuff, to me are like magicians. You know, they show you one hand, you know, the trick with one hand, but they keep the truth with the other hand behind them. They manipulate the book. It's not the book's fault. It's the person using the book, right? The book is a good tool where it has some good knowledge and wisdom in there. In any book, the Quran too has good knowledge, but it's the teacher, man, that manipulates people's minds.
Yeah.
They twist shit around in the book, and they use it to manipulate. It's about money and control.
And then they want to have different conditions. So, like, you can read one paragraph in the Bible, they tell you that's literal. And then the next paragraph you read, they say, no, that's a parable. And you read another paragraph, and they say, no, that's just an allegory. And so they want to be there to translate and like control your mind on every aspect of it, dude. Read it by yourself. Leave them people alone.
Right. I'm glad you said that, because I think the Bible, if you read it by yourself, it's all about how you see it. You know.
So hey, let me ask you this. There's a question. There's a story in the Bible about Jonah and the whale. It says that this man, this walking, talking human being, spent 3 days in the belly of a whale. Now, do you think that was literal? Or do you think that's an allegory? Do you think that's a parable? Do you think it's just a story? I mean, what do you think really happened? Do you really think a man spent 3 days inside of a whale?
It's a possibility, but I remember that story in the Bible. Because you said Jonah, yes, and I also remember with the whale. Damn, I used to get them confused. It was Noah, and then I used to confuse Noah and I think it was Noah and Jonah. I don't know, but either way, was it Noah and Jonah? But yeah, I think it's allegorical. But there's a strong possibility that could have really happened. I think people used to interact with animals. It wasn't like today where the animals are terrified because we hunt them to oblivion. I think back in the days when the fruit and vegetables were abundance, the interaction with Mother Earth was different. I think through time, people just hunted shit into oblivion, and the animals are terrified now. But what do you think?
And we had trees. We had trees here, like we had cherry trees, apple trees. We had the American chestnuts, and they went after and attacked these things systematically. There's not any producing American chestnut trees anymore. Not any of them. When trees get damaged, like through a forest fire or whatever, they'll go in and replant like conifers, trees that will not produce any fruit.
Like here we have a park. It's called Walnut Hill Park, but there's no walnut trees no more. And I noticed where the reservoir is, there's a apple orchard. You could look it up. It's called hold on, I need a minute to think. It's been so long since I've been up there. The orchard is called fuck. I gotta look it up now. When I go to look it up, it'll come to me. Watch. Not Johnny's Orchard. It's been so fucking long. Hold on.
Just imagine how fruitful this place would be if everybody put a couple of fruit-bearing trees on their property.
It's called Rogers Orchard, and we used to go up there and get apples and apple cider and stuff. And I've noticed even the apples, I don't think the apple trees aren't producing anymore ever since they started annihilating the skies.
And the bees.
Bees, another thing I barely see. Birds, it's another thing. Like if we can't come together and really start pressuring these people and tell them enough's enough, we're gonna be super fucked. People just don't.
Yep.
I've never seen people so selfish and so I don't even know what to call it, man. It's just like most people just don't give a fuck. If it don't interfere with them directly, they just don't give a fuck. Back in the days, if you brought a problem to the table, the word would spread and people would come together and say, fuck this, man. No.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I think the school really fucked the children's minds over through the generations.
It's a kind of blindness, including spiritual blindness, I think.
Yeah. Yup. That's why I said people walk around blind even though their eyes are open, because and it's going to affect them directly real soon, and they're going to regret it. Just like when the COVID happened, I told people, don't do it. No one listened. And come to find out, we were right. A lot of millions of people are telling people to just chill with that. And I know people sat there and were like, damn, these people are right. You know, I'm not trying to be like, I told you so, but I thought people would finally start listening to us after that because we were right. And nope, still the same ignorance and stubbornness. And it's like, it's going to affect people directly. But they just don't get it, man. I told people martial law was coming. My friend said, "You're crazy, bro." And it happened. Not to a full extent, but it happened. I don't think they're finished either. Because people are saying Trump did this, but Trump didn't he didn't drain nothing in the swamp. He didn't put none of those criminals in fucking prison. Like, if he was truly for the people, imagine if he did put these people in prison, the pedestal he would be on. The people would really back him and really love him to the fullest extent. If he did what he said he was going to do, we would back him.
Yeah.
The people would fucking back him 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
That's how you know he's not on our side fully. He acts like he is. Like Bush should have been in prison for
If you look at
treason.
his track record, he considers himself to be the father of the solution, let's say. He was behind Space Force. He declared the national emergency and turned us over to FEMA. And he faked an assassination attempt.
Yeah. Ah, man, that was the worst fake. This cat got nicked in his ear, and a week later, if that was a real bullet, it would have sliced his ear up, and he healed less than a week. His ear was all healed up. Yeah. Mr. Magic Air. Humpty Trumpty sat on a wall. Damn, I don't know what happened to my Humpty Trumpty picture. I hope I still got that in my laptop. I took a Humpty Dumpty picture and I put Trump's face on it. And I put Humpty Trumpty. That's what I call him. Because he's a wall. His wall he loves to build.
Yeah.
Humpty Trumpty sat on his wall.
Oh yeah, I forgot his little fancy wall and his fucking affiliation with Elon Musk.
Let's see the chat. Hey Bex. Damn, sorry, I wasn't even paying no attention to the chat. Bex came
I wasn't
here.
either. I'm in here and I can't see the chat unless I flip over.
We got that, which is the planes were CGI. Hey Kimba. Oh man.
Whoa, we got Kimba and Bex. Cool.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. I miss Kimba, man.
Hiya, Bex. Hiya, Kimba. Woohoo.
That's a treat. It's been so long. I haven't seen Kimba in a long time. Yeah, this book is going to be awesome, man. Because he talks about what I already read, was just so interesting. And it said that cutting the trees down would change the weather too. And I remember a native Indian was speaking on when you cut the trees down, it makes it colder. And I think trees do obtain a lot of heat. That's why I also think when these Titan trees were here, because, you know, I have some people that come to my channel that say I'm nuts, and those aren't, the mesas and plateaus aren't fossilized tree stumps, but there's proof that they are. This guy went to Colorado and was picking apart what people call rocks. It was fossilized wood, and it looked heavy, but it was so light. The dude was just picking it apart. I showed that video a while back. Let me see. How many more pages do I have before? I'm on page 16. Let me see. I'm gonna look and see, because it still don't say chapter anything, which is odd. I know this can't be the intro. If it is, this is a long intro. I never seen a book with an intro this long. Holy shit. What page is this? 26? Still going. Yeah, this is a weird book. Let me find out. This book has no chapters. It just goes and goes and goes.
I know.
I'm
I
on
heard
page,
you say that.
yeah, there's no. I'm on page 36. There's no chapters. Nothing. Not even page
Yeah.
numbers. This is weird. Well, I guess I just
It's
have
well
to read
written,
it.
though.
Yeah, I just have to
I think
read
I'm gonna
it.
drop out. I'm gonna drop out and just listen to you, man.
All right. Thanks for coming up, Mr. Super
Yeah,
Saiyan
dude.
Wonder. This is a good conversation.
We'll do it again.
Have a great day, and see you next
Yep,
time.
you too. All right, brother. See ya.
What's up, Bex? We will need a lot of purple ink to print the most distinguished banners. So I'm gonna read a little bit more of this book, I guess, until someone comes up. So this is a book by Viktor Schauberger, a German physicist, I think. He played a part. He was born in 18. Let me see. Oh, I erased it. Excuse me. He was born in 18. I don't remember, but he died in 1950 something. But he played a part in building these free energy machines and all that good stuff. But he has a book, and it's called The Fertile Earth, and it talks about the energy the earth and the trees have and how important and everything it is to obtain Mother Earth and the trees and stuff. But I already read 16 pages if anyone wants to rewind. And I'm going to continue to read now. I'm on page 16. So it says Tekken academic motion together with its unnatural appliances and unsuitable alloys. Hold on, let me move this closer so I don't have to look up. All right, let me put this like this. And let me put this here. All right. Where was I? Okay. Unnatural appliances and unsuitable alloys causes the emissions of X-ray-like emanations which penetrate all resistance and build up pressure and heat in surrounding cell structures. They are the true cause of cancer since they provoke nuclear fission in the cell nucleus and turn every cell into an epicenter of decay. Exactly the opposite reactive effects take place. However, if the various media of Earth, water, and air are artificially accelerated planetarily and in a predominantly God damn it. Let me turn on. I gotta turn this on because it helps me when I can't pronounce words. It'll help pronounce it for me. I gotta turn this on. Then I gotta do this. Sorry, everyone. But this helps me pronounce words when I can't. And it'll speed it up for me.
Centripetal.
Oh, okay, centripetal. All right, planetarily and in a predominantly centripetal manner. Centripetal means moving or tending to move toward a center. Okay. In this instance, radiation is emitted from substances acting to invigorate surrounding cell structures. Here it triggers cell division and an increase in the number of cells, leading to the creation of additional nuclei for growth. It is therefore radiation of a type which is the very antithesis of that produced by techno-academic motion, the latter being supercharged bioelectrically and functioning electrolytically. Electrolytically, let's see what that means. Electrolytically, I have no clue. Oh, there is no definition. This is weird. Electrolytically. This guy made this up? Let's see. Electrolytically is an adverb that describes something being done or occurring through the process of electrolysis. You need to turn that garbage off. In contrast, planetary motion leads to biomagnetic supercharging and has a contractive structure densifying property. In the form of new juvenile cell formations, it propagates a cooling tendency and maintains the optimum condition of health. With these products of interaction, whose effect and characteristics can be controlled, wise nature regulates reproduction, upward evolution, and the multiplication and ennoblement and ennoblement. I bet you that's ennoblement. These fucking people, you know, they can't just be simple. They got to make me work harder.
Ennoblement.
Oh, it's ennoblement.
Ennoblement.
Yeah, I get it, buddy. All right. Multiplication. All right, it says nature regulates reproduction, upward evolution, and the multiplication and ennoblement of later life forms. However, if techno-academic motion is employed, then that's what I'm talking about. He has to use these fucking words, man. I'm gonna be here all day reading with these words. God. And then Google has nothing for this word. It's giving me a headache. I think it's centrifugal. I'm gonna leave it at that. Centrifugal propagating impulse is imparted to these life forms. In this case, oxidizing process are initiated and decomposive energies activated and liberated. These lead to inflammation and swelling and provoke the regressive development of cancer. This explains in general terms the erroneous form of motion that is today cultivated and promoted in all areas of human activity. In consequence, the possibility for water, the blood of the earth, to reproduce, regenerate, and upwardly evolve has been perverted and prevented, which applies equally to all growth. In, I think this word is Lao? Yeah, that, of course. Of course.
In lieu.
Lieu. That's the word lieu. In lieu, in lieu of growth, a retrogressive cancerous development has inevitably set in, and as a degenerative process, assumed more and more dangerous forms the greater the ramification of these errors and the intensity of their effects. The prime question, therefore, is, does an insuperable force of gravity actually exist? A variety of experiments led to the insight, startling to all technologists, a variety of experiments led to the insight, startling to all technologists, no doubt that a physical force of gravity exists only in the atmospheric living space, and even then only to a certain extent. At first view, it seems amazing, even impossible, that the force of gravity can be overcome almost effortlessly, and that physical heaviness will become equally non-existent, in the same way that a healthy organism is barely conscious of its own bodily weight. Now, I don't think there's gravity. Let me get something to drink. I'll be right back. All right, my bad. All right. Maybe there is no chapters in this book. It could all be just one chapter. All right. It says the most instructive and revealing demonstration of the phenomenon is not only the mountain trout. That's weird. What's a mountain trout? Almost motionless stance amidst torrential flows of spring water, but also its lightning flight upstream when danger threatens. In the spawning season, during the period of highest sexual arousal, it can surmount waterfalls many meters high with the greatest of ease. For this to happen, the falling water has to wind in about its own fall axis through a system of hollow spiral curves. In the process of falling, its density is increased mechanically it becomes specifically heavier through coactive physical influences and approaches its anomaly point of plus 4 degrees Celsius, which is plus 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Such waterfalls exhibit a fall pattern that becomes progressively more conical, progressively more conical towards the base, and within it a biomagnetic field evolves that radiates levitative substance. These substances should be understood as formative and uplifting atomic forces, which on a larger scale trigger off hitherto unidentified forces, which are active in cyclones. In this instance, however, they screw the trout's body upward along a spiral path until the point of the initial downward curvature of the water is reached. The trout then leaps under its own power, entering the upwardly tractive water flow above the waterfall, in which it moves effortlessly upstream with the characteristic twisting and looping movement, eventually reaching the vicinity of a spring. Here it lays its shellless eggs, which without any physical contact are then fertilized by the milter, the male trout. This is only possible, however, if the water is temperatureless, if it lies at the anomaly point of plus 4 degrees Celsius, which is 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit, and if it is deficient in oxygen and extremely rich in volatile ethericities. Ethericities? What? Anyway, versatile, etheric. It says ethericities 3 of carbon acid. I'll leave it at that. The same also applies to herring, which is fish, which congregate so closely together during the spawning season that there seems to be more fish than water. These preconditions for reproduction were once known to fishermen closely connected to nature. Similarly, in the past, every butcher knew that the body of a calf slaughtered during the cold part of the year would weigh more on its scales dead than alive, provided that it had been expertly hung in such a way as to prevent the blood congealing. Let's see if I got that right. I bet you this won't pronounce it for me, because it does.
Congeal.
Oh, that's right. Which means to solidify or coagulate by cooling. So yeah, congealing. This only holds true if the appropriate temperature gradient 4 is active indirectly by way of the filter wall, which hermetically seals the thorax. Between lungs and pleura, the necessary biological vacuum must be maintained. This is odd how it's going into all this. What does that have to do with plants? We'll find out. For this reason, the old huntsmen took great pains to hang the deer they shot properly in order to preserve the venison's full flavor. In another example, under certain conditions of temperature, the drowned are drawn towards the bottom, whereas under other conditions, they become bloated and are deposited at very particular places on the banks. Here too, therefore, no constant law of gravity exists. Weightlessness prevails over gravity. Many interesting examples follow which illustrate that there is no constantly active force of gravity in the atmospheric living space. From this, it can be inferred that there is neither a constant conservation of energy, nor any other rigid regularity. On the contrary, there is only a rhythmical reciprocity. I know I'm saying that wrong. Reciprocity?
Reciprocity.
Oh, okay. Reciprocity. The practice of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit. All right. Rhythmical reciprocity, which can be mechanically controlled so that levitation prevails over gravitation, physical weight. The spiritedness of an animated organism, such as water, can be so intensified that it surges upwards, as happens in mountain springs, or it can gently pulsate on steep slopes. It can therefore overcome its physical weight. The prerequisite for this phenomena being planetary motion, decomposive energy triggers cancer. Decomposive energy triggers cancer. The centrifugal form of motion, which increases pressure and heat, was first recognized for what it was when it triggered the release of decomposive energies. This is what happens when the media of earth, water, and air are over-illuminated or warmed up, which today occurs virtually all over the world. The seed of decay is created in this way, which reproduces and establishes itself, and is the unresearched casual agent of cancer. In this case, instead of the negative pressure normally prevailing, an atomic excess pressure develops in every blood and sap vessel. This acts not only as a resistance to motion, but in addition fosters the decay of amorphous structures and explains, for instance, the tumorous swelling that can clearly be distinguished in shade-demanding trees overexposed to light or otherwise overheated. This is known as light-induced growth, with which modern forestry strives to achieve accelerated growth and thereby reduce the period of rotation. In reality, however, it is tree cancer. The magnitude of this disastrous blunder in forest management will only be appreciated once it is realized that a genetically diseased, cancer-impregnated, shade-loving tree sustains such a loss of reproductive and upwardly evolving power that the seeds produced by the immediately succeeding generation are already sterile. Instead of being a water producer, the tree becomes a water consumer, thus turning into a veritable forest parasite that extracts the last residues of water from the soil. Through an intermixture of diffuse substance, the shade-demanding tree becomes a water blood donor. As a result, the more water that is produced, the more luxuriantly a healthy mixed forest thrives. Even the modern botanist is guilty of fallacious, okay. Modern botanist is guilty of fallacious reasoning when he assumes that the plant absorbs dissolved substances along with groundwater. Qualified hydraulic and hydroelectric engineers suffer from similar flawed logic and must be retrained as quickly as possible if forests, fields, and pasture lands engineers suffered from similar flawed logic and must be retrained as quickly as possible if forests, fields, pasture lands, and the remaining waters are to be rescued from disaster by the introduction of proper biological and environmental laws. Whether any given organism is exposed to strong influences of heat, or whether these are augmented or generated by centrifugal pressure increasing motion, is quite immaterial. In both cases, powerful quasi-material atomic forces of a predominantly bioelectric nature evolve. These obstruct the original circulation of water, blood, and sap, and their destructive action increases in step with the increase in the speed of motion. In fact, today, no stone has been left unturned in the attempt to intensify this unnatural system of moving bipolar entities. Over the course of time, the self-deception mentioned at the beginning has become a betrayal of humanity, to which the whole civilized world will unsuspectingly fall victim. Should any recovery be forced through under the Agais? I think that's Agais. Hold on. Aegis, the protection, backing, or support of a particular person or organization. Aegis, okay. Recovery be forced through under the aegis of contemporary centrifugal technology, then conforming to natural law. It will inevitably bring about a third and last world war, which will certainly be fought with nuclear bombs. They always say that shit. They want to bring that into reality. This will complete the radical extermination of mankind to the extent that it has not already succumbed to that progeny of technology, the scourge of cancer, which is assuming greater and greater proportions. Contemporary science, whose level of knowledge is one octave too low, must be shown the true foundation of evolution. If not of its own free will, then it should be forced to change its views by plebiscite. Hold on. Plebiscite. I think it's plebiscite. Plebiscite? I don't fucking know. We'll find out in a second. God damn it. Trying to highlight this word and just... Oh my god, dude. There we go.
Plebiscite.
Oh, it's close. The direct vote of... Oh, okay, plebiscite. It says, effect on Earth's orbit of weight of growing things. Why does the Earth continue to float in space? Shut up. We're not floating in space. This guy is obviously a heliocentric lover. Why does the Earth continue to float in space despite the constantly increasing weight of growing things? Yeah. In principle, this question is quite easy to answer. It floats in space because it orbits around. Because it orbits around, rotates about, and circulates through its longitudinal biomagnetic axis, its ideal axis. In the course of this peculiar movement, it procreates what? Goth? Come on, man, these guys with these words. I mean, it's cool to learn new words, but it gets a little out of hand here. Alright, I don't know, but we'll find out how to say this.
Goethe. Goethe. Goethe.
Goethe? There's no R in here. Goethe? I don't know. Alright, procreates what Goethe called the eternally female, or the all-uplifting. Here is simply called qualogen. Huh. I don't know what qualogen is, but I must know. Qualogen is Qualogen Therapeutics. Bastards, there's no definition? Oops. Qualogen is the context of There is no definition, I don't think. Oh. Qualogen is a biotechnology company, of course. But there's obviously has to be a definition. Because there is no company here in this book. Damn, True Stone, you're invisible. That's odd. I can't even see you. You're completely invisible. Where's this word? It endows all forms of growth with the natural ability to reproduce and establish themselves on the higher plane of evolution. Through unnatural, unreal, and excessively one-sided centrifugal motion, this capacity was disturbed to such a degree that we now face a general economic collapse and the decline of the last vestiges of culture. Yeah, I don't know what happened, True Song, but come back up. I'm going to end it after this paragraph. And tomorrow I'll continue, tomorrow evening I'll continue at page 20. Contemporary physicists are concerned only with the respective change in state and pay, no heed to material change. Conversely, chemists are only interested in the latter. Nuclear physicists apply techno-academic motion to producing concentrates of those products of emotion that categorically destroy everything. Therefore, every intelligent person must concede that this... Here we go. More noise. Therefore, every intelligent person must concede that this ill-informed academic science, which promotes the reversed form of motion and teaches it in all schools and universities, will become all the more dangerous to humanity the more it achieves its supposed success in kinetics. I want to keep going. It's too interesting, but let's see if True Zone comes back up. What's up? Fuck the world stage. Balls in space certainly can invent some technical jargon, making one sound intelligent using it. True. You know, like the curvature and stuff, people will say the mathematics add up. No, it don't. 8 inches per mile square? No, it don't add up. But you ever notice, like, in the heliocentric, there's balls. They like to play with a lot of balls. You got basketball, football, balls in space. Like, what's going on here? Oh, maybe True Zone got sucked down the black hole or something. I'll read a little more. Like, I don't know where this is going. There's True Zone because... all right. It went from fucking plants to fish to... I don't know. To bombs. It's like... every time I go live, it's almost like they like dispatch people to drive by my house with noise. It never fails. I promise you, when I get off of here, there'll be no more noise. That's how it works, I swear. Every time I go live, 1,000 cars that are pieces of shit with noise drive by. Maybe it's a coincidence. I'll read one more page because I want to see where this is going. In view of the fact that there is no force of gravity above the atmospheric living space, the force of gravity must be variable. The patents applied for in 26 countries demonstrate that with the aid of planetary motion, it is possible to overcome physical weight with little effort or cost. I wonder if they took this guy's writings and like put it in their own words. Because it coming from the 1800s, this guy, right? That old lady that was being interviewed, she passed away in 2022. And she said, when I was in school, she was born in 1918. She lived to be 102. She was interviewed by Dave Weiss, and she lived in Connecticut, but she was in Florida in an old folks home. But she was from Connecticut, which is odd. And she says they taught that the earth was flat. Now, this guy was born in 1850 that wrote this book and died in 1950. So he was also taught the earth is flat. So what is this fucking guy doing promoting balls floating in space if he was taught the earth is flat? So I think these people took this guy's book. He was probably explaining flat earth in here, but then they took that out and rewrote his shit. I wouldn't doubt it. Anyway, maybe not. But I doubt this guy, being born in the 1850s, believed that we're on a ball here. Where was I here? Oh, it says, therefore, all contemporary concepts of reality and all worldviews will have to change fundamentally. It is not the earth that attracts any given mass. Rather, it is the earth itself that is maintained in a labile state of equilibrium through the forces of levitation, which intensify with increasing altitude. Hence, it is only the quantitative increase in the weight of growing things that prevents the earth from being torn skywards and pulverized into atoms. Pseudoscience. An example of this are the fish found in the ocean deeps. These are equipped with extremely delicate skeletal frames, which rupture immediately if they are drawn upwards into the zone where the water is under excessive atmospheric pressure. Now, I don't think it's atmospheric pressure. I just think it's the weight of the fucking water. This zone is the surface waters of the ocean, is the filter belt for the diffusion of incident solar radiation harmful to the growth and development taking place below. In the forest, this radiation is absorbed by leaves and pine needles in the tree's crown. For healthy growth, only filtered ethericities of radiation, which are invigorating and refreshing, should reach the interior of the tree. All plants, animals, and human beings are therefore equipped with diffusion vessels, which enable them to assimilate. Let me see what this says. I probably get it wrong. It says acclimatize. I might be right. Acclimatize.
Acclimatize.
I was close. Acclimatize to fluctuating ambient temperatures and radiant influences. These contract or dilate and are therefore not rigid structures but temperature controlled organs. But what of levitation? How do levitative forces come into being and where? The term levitation is derived from the Greek word levit and means a formative, upwardly propelling suctional force in which an atomic metaphysical energy is active, whose direction of propagation is mainly vertical. If it is introduced into a vacuum tube in bundled form, it produces a bluish green glow. It is Akin. Is that Akin or Akin? It's got to be Akin. Akin. It is akin to the Odic rays discovered by Baron von Reichenbach. Every force, whether it stimulates or suppresses the life in any form of growth, a more highly evolved life form, unfolds itself and springs forth from the ur form of life, the egg. As a rule, seeds and cell structures have an egg-shaped appearance. It is the type of excitation or motion that determines whether a highly potent new form of life or a rotten egg eventually develops. Temperature also plays a role here, often involving differences of mere 0.1 degrees Celsius or 0.18 degrees Fahrenheit, or in the case of a chicken's egg, in the order of a 0.2 degrees Celsius or 0.36 degrees Fahrenheit. All excessive warming or cooling of the blood or sap makes it impossible for life to renew itself in a younger but evolutionary older entity. It therefore becomes apparent that a young shade demanding tree has no hope of survival if it is suddenly set out in the open. Similarly, water inevitably degenerates when it is either over illuminated or forced into a heel in pressure increasing motion, in which case the same symptoms of decay appear as in the overwarmed contents of eggs. Through planetary mass motion, which reduces pressure and dissipates heat, the desired anomaly state can be attained and maintained at an almost constant level by regulating the rate of rotation of suction whirl pipes. The particular state of excitation that triggers off the formative type of motion can therefore be achieved and maintained, which replenishes the supply of collagens mentioned. Collagens? What the fuck is that? Mentioned at the beginning. The rays emitted by this specifically densified assemblage of basic elements then overcome the force of gravity. Here we are therefore concerned with a rhythmical interplay between various component forces, including those of suction and pressure. Whatever form the associated temperature gradient eventually assumes is therefore crucial in terms of molecular growth and deterioration. The latter being induced by a temperature gradient in which the pressure component prevails. With centrifugal techno-academic motion, this is the outcome in every case. It is thus quite clear that decomposive products harmful to development will multiply at the velocity of such a system of mass motion rises. On the other hand, if the various media are moved planetarily, then the negative pressure evolves, which can be measured with a pressure gauge. When the rate of rotation is extremely high, overcooling occurs, and if the pH value rises above 8, I don't know what this says. Saponification? Saponification? Let me see.
Summer savings are here at Going Gone by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Fucking
Find
kidding
store near
me?
you and save
Bullshit.
big at
I'm gonna say the
Saponification.
Okay, saponification. If the value rises above 8, saponification, whatever that means, or an excessive concentration of ethereal oils takes place, making any freezing impossible. If these products of emulsion are extremely finally dispersed and are subsequently mixed with diffuse atmospheric oxygen, then they expand, and will do so under the very slightest pressure of a piston. The mixture then transfers to a gaseous state with a simultaneous 1800-fold increase in volume and represents a controllable expansive force derived from an incombustible propellant or fuel. In 1917, John Andrew demonstrated this to the United States Department of the Navy. Accused of being a fraud by the investigating commission, he put a few drops of a crystal clear concentrate into 10 liters of both fresh water and seawater and challenged the investigators to test the mixture in an internal combustion engine, boiling with indignation. He then left the test laboratory. When the test motor started, the significance of this ideal source of power became quite apparent. A subsequent search for the inventor found him murdered in his living room. But of course, so the discovery, which that atomic wizard John Worrell Keeley had made prior to John Andrew, was lost for the second time. Having been derived and scorned all his life, Keeley took his secret to the grave, destroying his hydro-pneumatic vacuum pulsation machine before he died in 1898. With this machine, he repeatedly produced a cold vapor which was triggered by a pressure of 35,000 kilograms. That's 1,262,295 pounds in 3. Such a force relegates all petroleum fuels into obscurity. And I'll end it there. That's wild. I'll continue this tomorrow at page 22. Hopefully, I'll just leave it like this so I don't lose it. But that's bugged out, man. And I wasn't going to read that page, but something told me to keep going because we're already talking about people murdered by their inventions. That's odd. 1898, they annihilated homeboy and took his shit. But that doesn't blow my mind because I expect shit like that from the schmoverment. They're all scumbags. Let's see. Hey, Casey. The government probably have policies on what can be printed. Most book presses have to be registered, and we know what the symbol means. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't get. I bet you this guy talked about the Earth being level and all that in his books, and they just rewrote it because it was published after he died. The vapor canopy before the destruction of giant silica trees is being reproduced in an experiment in Mexico. The length and breadth of the biosphere is large enough and is already showing larger. I think it has to do with frequency too. But I think, in my opinion, we live on like this motherboard, and at the North Pole is where where the North Pole and the spinning of the stars. That's why in the video I have this. Because, like I said, this reminds me of a record player. Like it says, God spoke everything into existence, and the spoken word is the serpent or the sine wave. And the stars are spinning, singing the song of life. And also, we are light. Like I've said a million times, I know it gets boring to people, but my mother pointed to the sky when I was like 7 or 8 and told me that I'm a star. We're all stars. I'm just grateful she didn't sit there and bore me with these biblical stories. You know, and it's not boring. Like I said, it's how people teach you from the book, right? Or it's how you see it when you read it. But what bores me is these preachers who just like twist shit and put into their boring perspective lies. And they lie to you and tell you this guy's going to come save you. So it's buying the government time. That's their trick. Nobody knows when this guy's going to return. But everybody just sits back and turn their cheek to people poisoning our food and our water and doing all this crazy shit, man, spraying the skies and on. I could go on forever. But that's the biggest deception ever, is to turn your cheek and let it slide, man. But I don't know. I'm about to end this live. I've been going over 3 hours and I got shit to do, Jew bug. But it came up a little too late. Thanks for coming up, Mr. Super Sidewinder, man. This was a good combo. Electricity moving through liquids and salts. Yeah, I think all the energy is coming from the North Pole, like a ripple effect. I'll probably go live later, maybe after I gotta go do a bunch of stuff. I'll probably go live in a couple hours. Maybe people will get out of work and stuff and come by, but I gotta go do a few things. I just want to get it over with. And I'd say around 3:33 I'll go live. No, I'm joking. But yeah, maybe 3 o'clock. Magnetism is the source. Yeah, I think all energy is the source. But peace to everyone. I appreciate y'all coming through. And I will check you later. Peace out, everyone. Make sure y'all come back at 3 o'clock.